Wonderful. Hello. Hi guys, am I audible?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay, all right, good. So we will be starting soon. Please let others know that class has started, right? We will be starting by 10:08, right? Yeah. Okay, so I guess let's start with the class. Rest can join while class is going on, right? So yeah, guys, please let me know how many of you guys tried the assignment that I said yesterday. What about the loops assignment? Did you try it? Okay, so one requirement for the day is key. Today I'm not at my usual setup, right? So that's why I won't be able to see your messages regularly. Please just whenever you are trying to answer, please unmute yourself and then respond, right? So because today I won't be having like a regular eye on the chats, right? Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's start with today's assignment. Let me just share my screen once, right? All right. Please let me know if the screen is visible.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right. Cool. So yeah, guys. So we will be like going with the loops assignment for the day, right? And in loops assignment also we will be completing these questions, right? The first question let's take up is print sum, right? Print sum 10. Cool. Okay, so this is a basic looping question that requires us to write a program to calculate the sum of first 10 numbers, right? So how many of you tried this problem? How many of you tried this problem?
Sir,
Yes, sir.
actually today only we
Mhm.
have so today only Adarsh has teach this topic, the loop,
Okay, so others sir taught
like
you this
condition
topic.
today.
Uh, you're talking about looping conditions, loops, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So
And
please just
condition
give me a.
statements.
Okay, cool. Conditional statements, I believe, if else that. I guess I have covered
Yes, sir.
that in my last class also. So yeah, I guess you would be good with that. Just let me know how many loops are covered, right? For loop covered, while loop covered.
No, while
No,
loop not
sir.
covered.
Okay, while loop not covered.
And
All
for
right.
loop also not covered, sir. Just
For
in today's class, just I will say the topics.
yeah.
In today's class, we gone through the relation operators and
Okay.
nested loop, if and else, uh,
You said
else if,
nested loop or nested conditions.
nested
Nested
condition,
condition.
sorry,
Not started yet.
Okay.
nested condition,
Uh-huh. Okay, so
and
I guess
if
nested,
else
that
if
one
else
that
if,
we were discussing yesterday, by basically the else dangling else like kind of situation, right?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess in today's loops assignment, I will be like requiring to give you a basic intro to for loops, right? Anybody like is anybody there who is like not at all familiar with loops? Just let me know. You can write in chat also. I will manage looking at the chat also. Is there anybody who doesn't know for loop, like no idea with loops? If there is one, so please let me know, right? Okay, so there is no one, right? I guess so. At least you guys know what is a loop. Basically, loop basically helps us to execute one statement several times, right? So in today's assignment, let's say the question is print first 10 numbers sum, right? Right. So first 10 numbers sum, do we need any input? No, we don't need any sort of input, right? Because you can see that input is always fixed, first 10 natural numbers sum, right? Okay, so right, guys, just keep your videos closed. That right. Armstrong number problem. Yeah, we will be going through it also, right? Okay. So see, let's quickly go through the first 10 numbers sum we require. So let's first create a variable in which we will be storing the sum, right? So let's call this a sum. Let's initialize it with 0. This means whatever the sum we will be calculating, we will be storing it in the sum. So apart for this, we can use a for loop, right? Now for loop is used by like this: int I is equals to 0. The first half, as I said earlier also, like in the first very class, I tried to describe about the for loop. The first part in the for loop is initialization of a variable. You can see the initialization of the int sum and the int I is similar. So this basically specifies that I'm initializing integer I for this specific loop only. The I will be valid only in the scope of this for loop, right? Now the next part is separated by the semicolon. The next part is the conditional check on which condition the for loop should operate, right? I can't have an infinite loop, right? So I need to start from one point and end to one point, right? So that basically requires a conditional check for the for loop. Now, what should be the condition that I need to check, right? We need the sum of first 10 natural numbers. So for first 10 natural numbers, I can say the first natural number is 1. So I will be initializing I with 1. Now, while I is less than or equal to 10, right? In this, we need to specify the range of I, in which range the I is a valid in the valid domain according to which the loop can run. So whether I is from 1 to 10, right, less than or equal to 10, in that domain, the I is valid condition. This will execute this for loop. As soon as I passes the 10 number, that is goes to 11, the loop will generate an invalid result. The conditional check will return the invalid return, right? That is false value. So conditions won't be executed. Now, coming to the third statement. What is the third statement? Third statement is the increment part, right? Increment or decrement part. How should the value of the variable that we are using should change? What do you want? What do you think in this case happen to I? I say I should increase, right? I should increase so that I goes from 0 to 10. All right. Are we clear till this point? Any doubt? And any doubt till what I have said for these three conditions, right? I will also be commenting them for you. First is initialize. Initialize. Right. Then is condition. After that is let's say change, right? Because the change can be positive or negative or multiply, divide, right? Change can be anything, right? So in our case, the most desirable change is of increment I plus plus, right? So how can we use this? So I know that my i's value will be 1, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, right? So this is the valid domain for I. Now, as soon as I goes to 11, right, this is invalid, right? So this is invalid. So I can basically keep a separate space in between. Now, you guys might be saying, okay, so sir, what about the 0 case, right? You can see I am initializing I with 1. So that basically means I starting value is 1. After that, I runs from 1 to 10 only, right? I have basically skipped or taken care of the parts that are smaller than 1 with the initialization itself, right? And my changes on the increment. So one increment at a time, from 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, and so on. As soon as I go to 11, my I becomes 11. The conditional check will return me a false kind of like output. So the for loop won't execute further, right? Okay. I guess so far so good. Now, what do I need to do in this statement? Yes, Prashant, you are right. I need to do a sum plus, sorry, let's write it this way. Sum is equals to plus I, right? Now, is this in the statement I'm writing sum is equals to sum plus I, right? So sum is the total sum of the natural numbers that I have like evaluated so far. After that, I is basically the next natural number that I'm trying to like add in my sum, right? So let's say, let's do a dry run, right? Let's do a dry run. So let's call this sum, right? Initially the sum was 0, right? So let me just point I also, right? So this is my I. What is the value of I at the moment? I is pointing at 1. Is this smaller than 10? Yes, it is smaller than 10. So sum will be incremented. Sum was 0 plus I makes it 1, right? After this, you can see there is no more statement, right? Now, the good part of for loop is it initializes once, checks every time, and changes after the scope, after the let's say the compiler read line has read the last line in the for block. So what was the last line in the for block? I say line number 2, right? Still at this point, the i's value was 1. After that, when I hit the closing tag, what happens is now i's value is changed. I becomes 2, right? For the last iteration, i's value was 1. So now in this iteration, i's value is 2, right? Coming for the re-entry, I will be evaluated with 10. Is I smaller than 10? Yes, it is. I is 2. So again, come to the for loop, do addition of value of I. So I sum was 1 plus 2 gives me 3, right? So again, I have executed the last line of the for loop. Basically just increment the value of I. So this time I is at 3, right? Let's continue once more. Now I is 3. Again, my pointer goes to the validity check. Is I less than 10? I say yes, it is. So again, perform the conditions that like the statements that are present in the for loop. So do a sum plus I, right? What was the sum so far? 3. What should happen? I should add the value 3 in it. What should be the answer? Quickly in the chat.
6.
Right. So the sum should go to 6, right? And so on, right? So after the 6, I will be creating the answer by adding, let's say 4 in it, right? 4 in it. So that makes it 10, right? After 10, I will be adding 5, makes it 15. After 15, I will be adding 6 in it. That makes it 21 plus 7, 28, 28 plus 8 is 36, right? 36. 36 plus 9 is 45. 45 plus 10 is 55. Got it? So this way, at last, at the point of 55, I will be standing here, right? Now, you can see 55 will be like we will get 55 at the execution of this line, right? Now, I will be incremented. Let's increment the I. Now I has passed the valid domain. Now it's in the invalid domain. Again, let's enter the condition check. I is smaller than or equal to 10. What should I get in this point? True or false? False, right? So let's we will be getting false. So false basically says, okay, so stop the execution further, right? No need to increment further, don't execute the lines further. So this time the for loop conditions won't be run or read. The pointer will directly jump to the next line after the closing bracket. Got it? This is how the for loop runs. Now, once the for loop's execution is complete, I have this answer in my sum variable, right? So why don't I just simply print it? System dot out dot print ln sum, right? This basically gives me the answer, right? So let's just try and run it. Enter some input. All right. We don't need any sort of input in this one. Okay, so I guess someone asked you, Wasa, why didn't you created these? Yeah, Sanket, that is also fine, right? I basically showed you the looping because the assignment is of looping, right? You can have the n into n plus 1 by 2 formula. That is also a valid answer. It's not about generating answer. It's about learning the concept of the loops, right? Right. So I guess I don't know why it is not like this. Also, let's enter anything because we are not reading anything. So that is also of no use. Sir, give input 1, not a statement. Achha. Okay, so I guess I haven't commented the I part. Yes. Yes. Abhinav, if I give the input as 1 also, that doesn't make any change because I am not reading any sort of value, right? My code is independent of what it does, right? So 25. Let's try and submit it. Yes, we got all test cases passed, right? So we had 10 cases only. I don't know why they had 10 cases, right? See, now why I didn't take any sort of input is because there is no requirement, right? You can see by the problem description, the problem is saying write the program to calculate the first 10 numbers, 10 natural numbers sum, right? It didn't say ki n number ka sum. It said ki 10 number ka sum. So that's why I had a hard coded value of 10. Okay, so let's make this question a bit more advanced, right? Let's try and do for n values. How will you do for n values? Anybody in the chat? So if it is for n values, I can say that I will be needing to read the input n, right? So let's create the scanner class. Scanner space sc is equals to new scanner system dot in. Cool. So now I require the use of input. So I will be creating an n that is equals to sc dot next int, right? This gives me the input of n from the console. Now the next change I need to make is this, right? Cool. Many of you have answered, right? So this in this case, let's try to give an input because in this time input basically makes some sense. So let's try for 5, right? Let's try and run code. Okay, so for 5, I guess we want 1 plus 2, 3, 4, I guess 15. Yes, 15 is the correct answer, right? So I showed you basically the both ways, the hard coded as well as the dynamic. Any doubts in this problem? Any doubts? Anybody with the for loop? Any statement in the for loop? No. All right, so let's move to the next problem, right? Let's move to the next problem. Let's move to the next problem. Print sum done, sum of natural numbers. Right, let's quickly do the sum of natural numbers. Okay. See, for sorry, yesterday I use scanner function for this program. Okay. All right. So let's have a look at it, right? Let's quickly have a look at it. So guys, is this line visible to you? Astif Samal, right? Astif Samal, can you please erase these lines? Astif. I don't think I have any sort of. Okay. Just give me a second. All right. I guess. All right. Yeah. So I guess now it is clear, right? Yes. Block position. Yeah, I blocked it. Okay. So yeah. I guess yeah, we were doing the question, right? So for an integer n, your task is to calculate the sum of first n natural numbers, right? User input, user task. Since this will be a functional problem, you do not have to worry about the input, right? See, in Accio, there is sometimes this problem, right? You can see there is no sort of a function required, right? Why this problem is written in this way? Because this problem really wants you to focus on the modular approach, right? What is modular approach? We will be talking about in the next lecture, I believe, because I really want you to teach you guys modular approach, because when the test will be happening, you will be requiring the modular approach, right? Don't worry about it. I will be teaching you that. Okay. So I guess this is the exact same question that I did here in the last part. Let's quickly finish it, right? Scanner SC is equals to new scanner system dot in, right? System dot in, right? Int n is equals to sc dot next int, right? For loop for int I is equals to let's say 1, I is less than or equal to n. Yes, correct. I plus plus. Give n. 1, give n. I'm not okay. Oh, sorry. Thank you. Int n is equals to, yeah. Thank you. Int n is equals to I plus plus, right? So sum plus is equals to I, right? For this I also need to declare the sum, right? So let's make the sum int sum is equals to 0. Sum is equals to 0, right? After this, simply do a printout of system dot out dot println of sum, right? Any error, guys? Any error you are able to figure out? Please let me know. Yeah, how to complete the good. I don't think there is any sort of error, right? Let's try for 10. Then again, we got a 55. That is basically exact match. So let's try and submit it. Okay, some test cases failed. N is not given. I gave N, right? I gave N. Right. Let's check which test cases being failed. Use long. Yeah, cool. Yes, I guess. Okay. So what do we need is we need long. So I guess this time it should run.
And should be long.
Okay, yeah. How do you know that you need to use let's say long, right? A valid question. See, there is some thing called at constraint, right? You can see, have a look at constraints, right? I basically read the initial documentation and I skipped basically this. So this is the mistake that I made, right? I didn't saw the n bar, right? N is a very big number, so I can say it's almost of 3, 3 and 2. So it's almost of 6 plus 2, 8. 10 to the power 8 number, right? Now, so some the range of two integer is of, let's say, in the range of 2 to the power 32, right? 2 to the power 32 is the range of integer. That is also of unsigned int. If you want to see it in int, divide that by 2 minus 1. So that is 2 to the power 16 minus 1, right? So that is the range in which the number should be, the final output should be, if you want to use it. If you are like having a suspicion that the actual answer might surpass this, right? Because you can see we are adding 10 to the power 8 sort of a big value several times, right? There will be 99999 plus that basically makes it 10 to the power again into 2, right? So you can see there will be a very big number. So just to be precautious, let's take it long, right? So this is the basic assumption and analysis that you need to do. Okay, so Vivek is not understanding sum plus is equals to I, sum plus I. So this is basically an equivalent to sum is equals to sum plus I, right? This is both basically the same thing. Whenever we are like adding some new value to the value on the LHS only, right? So you can see I'm using sum twice. So basically this is a shorthand version of writing this long statement to in a short way in the programming world, right? If you are a C++ coder or a Java coder, you basically write the same statement in both the ways, right? Right. It only works if you are like using this current value to add it, right? If you are like assigning something new, in that case, don't write +1 because that will be basically meaning keys add the right hand side to the left hand side, right? And store the value in the left hand side, right? Okay, cool. So I guess there shouldn't be any doubts in this problem. So let's move to the next one. Right, let's move to the next one. Okay, so let's try Armstrong number, right? Armstrong number. You guys were asking about Armstrong number, right? Right. I guess someone was asking. Okay, so we will be looking at the peak element also. Okay, so write a program to find all the Armstrong numbers between 1 and 500. If sum of cubes of each digit of the number is equal to the number itself, then the number is called an Armstrong number. For example, 153 is equals to 111. Okay. All right, guys. See, in this question, I can show you a modular approach, right? Are you interested in seeing the modular approach? Yes. All right, cool. Yes. So basically, what is a modular approach, right? What is a modular approach? So I might need to share my screen once again, right? This time the whiteboard. Please let me know if the whiteboard is visible, right? Blackboard, it's blackboard. Okay, cool. Is it visible, Blackboard? Please type it in chat. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right, cool. So what is modular approach, right? So far we have seen that we have a public, we have a public static void main, right? Void main. And then we do some sort of operation in this function. So you can see this is a basic function, right? This is basically a function, right? So modular approach is dividing your core concerns in several in a separate function, right? Okay, let's talk about the current question only, Armstrong number, right? In this question, what is given is, let's say the number is, let's say integer, let's say int num is equals to x, y, and z, where our, let's say this is almost equivalent to having some sort of a number, let's say 7, 6, 1, right? So this is x, this is y, this is z, right? What is an Armstrong number? If the number itself, right, let's say x, y, and z is equals to x cube plus y cube plus z cube, right? So is there any part that I can separate out that is I'm using several times? Yes, I can say that because I'm using a cube, right? I'm basically calculating a cube of each number, right? Agreed? We are calculating the cubes several times. So what do I need to do? I need to basically get a variable one at a time, calculate its cube, add it to the sum, right? Calculate its cube, add it to the sum. Okay. So for the normal approach, right? For the normal approach, what I can do, right? What I can do is I will be basically having, let's say integer int, basically integer n, right? That I will be making sc dot next it, right? After this, I will be having an integer sum, right? That is equals to again let's say 0, basically because we need to add the sums of cubes, right? After that, I can basically create a temporary value of t. Phi, I will be letting you know that will be initialized to n, right? Cool. Now, in this question, basically while loop will be used, or you can say let's do it in using for loop, right? It's basically a question of for loop. Let's do it using for. So I will be writing a statement called for int t, right? T is equals to n. You saw that I was earlier like declaring int t outside of the for scope. That was when I was trying to use while loop, right? So this is a main difference between while and for loop, that for loop basically has three statements: initialization, condition, and increment only, whereas while loop only has the increment check, the conditional check, right? Now, when till this t should execute? This t should execute till t is greater than 0, right? T plus. Cool. Okay, so let's extract out these values x, y, and z. Yeah, so that's why I'm not basically going in several domains, right? Kunal, right? No, it shouldn't be t minus. Okay, so yeah, see, okay, no worries, because in this case actually we don't need any sort of t, right? Because actually, see, in this case we will be using modulus, right? So let's say the value that we are extracting out, see, x, y, and z, I need a summation, an individual character, right? So how do you do that in programming? We create a temporary variable, right? Let's say int x is equals to t modulo 10. Is this statement clear? What does this mean? So let's say I have a number of 761, right? Mod 10. What does that gives me? Anybody can tell me the output of this statement? 1, exactly correct, 1. So you can see I basically got the 1th place value, right? Right. So I can basically extract out 1th place value in x, right? I can make my t as equals to t is equals to t by 10, right? Okay, so let me tell me what is this by 10. This is a divide, right? This is a divide. 761 divided by 10, what do I get? 760. Correct. 76, I get a correct. So I can say that every time I'm basically extracting out the values one by one, right? So 761, in this case, x became 1, right? For the next part I have 76. Again, this time x will be becoming 6. I only had 7. X will become 7. I will be getting a 0, right? Because if you do 7 by 10, what do we get? We get a 0. So you can see I have written a condition where I'm only running a code if t is greater than 0, right? So this is how the conditionals work, right? If you guys are thinking ki for loop is not covered in the main class, that's why I'm not able to understand. No, it's not that. For loop's theory is what that I just said, right? Increment, condition, initialization, condition, and increment, right? That's it. For loop covered. Apart from this, it's just practice. So if you guys haven't seen the haven't been taught for loops, whatever I have said so far, if you guys are listening carefully, that's enough to know about the for loop. After that, how do you create conditions, how do you create increments and decrements, that you will be learning in my class only. That's what I'm covering now, right? So you can see in previous question we used an increment part. Do we need an increment in this question? I say no. Repeat. So what is the point that you are not able to understand, Sanket? Please point it out. What should I repeat? Dipesh, you can also.
Sir,
Modulus part.
after 76, I can't understand how x equal to 6. So
Okay, for that, just give me a second, right? I will be explaining that. I got it.
okay, sir.
Just tell me, is the modulus and divide operation clear with you?
Yes,
These
sir.
two operations clear? All right.
Yeah, yes,
So,
sir.
okay, so let's first have a look at the actual code and then let's try to figure out, right? Because that will give you a bigger picture, right? So I got the remainder, right? 1 in this statement. I basically reduce the value of 10, basically removing the 1 its place with portion. What is left is basically adding, right? Basically adding the sum, right? Adding the value that I extracted to the sum, right? But can I directly add it? No, I can't directly add it. I basically need to calculate its cube, right? So I can basically do this. Sum is equals to sum plus in bracket x star x star x, right?
Yes, sir.
Is this part clear? Because I need to calculate the cube, right? Somehow I need to calculate the cube. So this is adding the cube value.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
So after this, my follow basically stops. And after this, I will be printing, right? I will be printing a valid or invalid part based on the comparison between if, let's say, n is equals to sum, right? If n is equals to sum, then I will be doing a print of true. That's okay. So let's just write it out. If n is equals to sum, right? Then print true. Else print false. Got it? Okay. So you guys were saying कि 76 के बाद कैसे हुआ वो सब. So just tell me कि are these two conditions clear, right? You said yes. So basically what modulus operator does by 10 is it is giving me the last one its place value, right? This value. So
Okay.
after this is a two statement step, right? Two statement step. This is step one, let's say. Okay, let me just change my color also. Right. So this is step one. Now for the step two, I can say key. The next step that is key, see in for loop also, if you have a closed loop, okay. In for loop also you can have a closed loop key. These are the two statements that are being mapped. After that, I'm adding the value, right? And the for blocks end. For block ends, right? This is the for block. Now for this next step, I can say the value of t is reduced and it is 76 now, right? So for second step, I can say that t's value is initially 76. Now I'm performing a modulus of 10 in it. What do I get? What do I get? I get a 6, right? So this time
Yes,
my
sir.
x value is 6, right? At
Okay.
every iteration, I'm removing the one its place object from the number. Got it? How? See,
Yes, sir.
first I'm extracting that number and then I'm removing that number, right? 76 by 10. That gives me a 7, right? So this
Yes.
is the new t value.
Yes, sir.
This is the x, right? Similarly, let's change the value again. So this is the x and this is going to be the new value, right? Okay, so let's go to the third step, right? Third step, the t's value was 7. So 7 mod 10 gave me a 7. Cool. And 7 by 10 basically gave me a 0. Agreed?
Yes,
Agreed?
sir. Yes, sir.
see why I'm doing this, right? You guys might be saying कि sir पिछले में तो increment decrement से हो रहा था, इसमें कैसे नहीं हो रहा? देखो, the main issue is कि this time I don't know the exact length of the numbers, right? If I know कि okay, so it's a 3-digit number, I can write the for loop 3 times. Let's say the number is of several range. Why use t for temporary values? Why use t for temporary value? I'm not able to get it. Can you just tell me, Mehran?
हाँ, वो जो
Why you
टी वैल्यू तुम सेव कर रहे हो ना, जो एन वैल्यू डिक्रीज होके जाएगा ना सर।
सी देखो, मैं फॉर लूप में टी की वैल्यू को बार बार यूज कर रहा हूँ, उसको मैनिपुलेट कर रहा हूँ, राइट? पर एक्चुअल चेक करने के लिए कि आर्मस्ट्रांग नंबर है कि नहीं है, जो मैं सम बनाऊंगा उसको मेरे को एक गिवन नंबर से चेक कराना पड़ेगा ना कि समेशन उसके बराबर आ रहा है कि नहीं, राइट? सो लेट्स से कि 1 आई बिलीव 135 इज द नंबर, राइट? So let's say कि I am giving a 135 as the number, right? Is it equals to the summation of 1 cube individually, right, plus 3 cube individually plus 5 cube, right? So देखो, अगर ये तीनों क्यूब्स का सम इसके बराबर आता है तो ये आर्मस्ट्रांग नंबर है, राइट? ये तो वो नंबर था जो मेरे को गिवन था, इसका मतलब था n। अगर मैंने n को छेड़ दिया, लाइक n, आप देखो ना यहाँ पे कि मैं t को हर बार कम कर रहा हूँ, एक एक अल्फाबेट हटा रहा हूँ, तो मैं तो डेटा लॉस कर रहा हूँ, राइट? सो डेटा लॉस मेरा हो रहा है, तो लास्ट तक पहुंचते पहुंचते तो n 0 हो जाएगा, तभी तो ये वैल्यू खत्म होगी ना, वन दो चलनी। अगर n 0 हो गया तो उसको मैं सम के साथ कंपेयर करूंगा, वो 0 वो मतलब गलत आंसर देगा। तो उसके लिए मेरे को एक कॉपी बनानी पड़ेगी जिसपे मैं ऑपरेशन कर सकता हूँ, ताकि जो मेरी मेन टी n की वैल्यू है वो डिस्टर्ब ना हो, राइट? अभी समझ आया?
हाँ हाँ समझ गया।
ठीक है, alright, cool. Okay, all right. So what I was saying, right, yeah, I was saying the Armstrong number. So yeah, I basically forgot what I was saying. Yeah, see, so modulus is giving me the remainder and then I'm using 7, right? After this I can say I have basically calculated the summation of these numbers, right? And then I need to just check with n. Yeah, I was saying about for loop and while loop, right? See, in this number you can say I can get a number of 0, let's say from 0, right? Let's say the x is going to be of several range, right? It can be of 1000, right? Let's take the case of 1000 itself, you will be getting my point, right? Why for loop? So in 1000 I can have values that are of 4 characters, right? 4 numbers. I can have a value, let's say 99, that is of 2 characters, right? In for loop I basically need to specify how many number of time the loop should run. But as you can see, in 1000 it should run 4 times ideally, and in 99 it should run 2 times. How do I get to know that? That's why I can like simply do an increment and decrement, right, once. For this thing I really need to have another check statement that is working for this. The best answer is using a modulus operator, so that if the number is still there, please perform the operation. If it is 0, don't need to add anything, right? सर ये लॉजिक से करा था, पर जब 1 से 500 का फॉर लूप लगाया तो आंसर नहीं आया सही, राइट? Right. So yeah, that is why I'm basically showing you first the naive approach, right? It is a complex question for starters. Okay, so so guys, is this question giving me the let's say the numbers from 1 to 500, or it is just checking for a 1 integer input? This is just checking for the 1 integer input. That is the problem, right? So you can see this chunk of code I can separate out, right? This chunk of code is always same for every number that I need to run, right? 0 से 500 जाते हुए मेरे को हर नंबर के लिए ये चेक करना है कि वो आर्मस्ट्रांग है कि नहीं, राइट? उसके लिए मेरे को उस पे यही ऑपरेशन परफॉर्म करने हैं, राइट? नंबर लो, नंबर को चेक करो, ये करो, वो करो, राइट? उसके बाद हमें आंसर प्रिंट कराओ। ये बात समझ आई? Do you guys agree that I need to perform the same operation several times on the range, given range 0 to 500? Yes, cool. So this is where the modular approach shows its power, right? I can basically create a function around it. Let's create a function around it. Basically, let's create a Boolean function, right? That takes some value and I can wrap it in. Now, instead of print, I will be simply returning this part, right? I will be simply return प्रिंट की जगह रिटर्न करेंगे। क्यों? क्योंकि अभी हमारा फंक्शन लिखा हुआ है, अभी हम मेन फंक्शन पे नहीं काम कर रहे। ऑलराइट, सो instead of getting the int from the console, I will be getting the int from the function call that I make, right? I hope you guys are good with the functions. A boolean, let's call it a valid, is valid, is valid. Let's give this integer, let's say x, right? X. So this is the function, right? This is the function. I can separate it out. Now I can have the public static void main separately, right? Public static void main, right? I can basically have a for loop running in it for int I, this time starting from 0, I is less than, let's say 5, less than or equal to 500, I plus plus. Cool. Yeah, Abhinav, see this increment statement or change statement I have skipped. Why? Because I don't need any, right? I don't need any. If there is a set pattern of like incrementing or decrementing the values, then I can do, right? I'm basically doing this thing here, right? Instead, what I can do is, if you like really want to write something here, you can basically write this statement. That is also fine, right? Because I need to change something, right? So you can either write it here or here, right? That is basically performing the same operation, right? As I said, this change statement is executed when the last boundary of the for loop is executed, right? So either you can do it here, either you can do it here, right? It's up to you. Basically, they both the same cases, right? So now in this for int function, right? For this int function, I can say check if is valid. If is valid, let's say I, then print, then do a print I, else, or else we don't need, right? Simple for loop is sufficient because we need to only print if it's a valid number, Armstrong number, right? Else we don't know. So you can see I can basically separate out the logic and concerns, right? Modular approach. I can have a for loop running that is basically concerned with changing the numbers, right? Okay, so check for 1, check for 2, check for 3, right? This is concerned with that. The above function is valid is concerned with, okay, so if the given number is actually an Armstrong number itself or not, right? So I have basically separated the concerns. Got it? Got it? Any doubts? I guess you might be having several doubts, right? Because modular approach, once it's not understandable, right? But don't worry, with time, I guess you guys will be good with it and you will be thanking me कि sir आपने बताया था, right? Okay, so देखो अभी क्या?
So basically सर अपन ने फंक्शन बनाया है ना उसको?
Yes, हमने उसको एक फंक्शन बनाया.
ओके, फिर वो एल्गोरिथम यूज करके अपन देख रहे हैं कौन सा है.
हमने क्यों बनाया? हमने क्यों बनाया? देखो हमने इसलिए बनाया ताकि हमारा ना कंसर्न सेपरेट हो जाए, राइट? तो अगर देखो मैं उसको कर सकता था, उसको करने के लिए हमें ना फिर फॉर लूप के अंदर फॉर लूप चल जाता, राइट? आपको अभी फॉर लूप नहीं पढ़ाया तो इसीलिए मैं आपको नेस्टेड फॉर लूप्स पे नहीं लेके जा रहा, वो ट्रिकी हो जाए, राइट? आपका एक बार कवर हो जाए क्लास में, फिर हम बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस करेंगे जिसमें आपको बहुत कुछ देखने को मिलेगा, राइट? Yeah, okay, so let's explain it in the code, right? Okay, so in public int void int, do I need any sort of input? Do I need any sort of input reading this problem description? What can you say? Yes or no? Do I need any sort of input? No. Yeah, correct. Because we are given the specific range 1 से 500 हमें दिया हुआ, right? So why don't we just simply do this for int I is equals to 0, or let's do it 1, right? Because 1 से शुरू है, I is less than and equal to 500, right? I plus plus, right? Okay, so कोई मेरे को बता सकता है ये लूप कितनी बार चलेगा? कोई भी अनम्यूट करके बताओ जिसको समझ आया ये लूप कितनी बार चलेगा?
500.
Yes, exactly 500. So I guess doubt था अभिनव का, right? अभिनव आपको समझ आया कि 500 बार चलेगा, right? And this loop is basically converting like like checking each value at once, right? कि ये वैल्यू है, सही है कि नहीं, ये वैल्यू सही है कि नहीं, ये वैल्यू सही है कि राइट। तो चलो पहले आपको ना मैं दिखा देता हूँ एक बार, अगर आपको देखना है कि चेंज कहाँ आ रहा है सर, क्यों मॉड्यूलर अप्रोच पे जा रहे हैं, जरूरत क्या है। अब ये फॉर लूप है आई, राइट, मेरे पास इंटीजर आई है, राइट। तो इसके अंदर मैं बनाता हूँ कि इंट सम, राइट, इंट सम इज इक्वल्स टू 0, राइट। और उसके बाद मैं इसके अंदर ये एक और लूप लिख देता हूँ, फॉर इंट लेट्स से टी, जैसे कि हमने लिखा था, टी इज इक्वल्स टू आई, राइट, if t is greater than 0, right, then I don't need any sort of an increment or change value, right? Or rather, let's do this also, right? कि change यहीं लिख देते हैं, तो t is equals to t by 10, right? So this is the change that we are doing, right? हर loop, okay. Jyoti, okay, so I will be sticking to English now. So what is this is कि this time I'm writing the change statement as the third condition, right? Why don't we take int sum is equals to, why don't we take int sum, see, okay, yeah, okay, so I will be covering it, right? I will be covering it. Key, see why we are writing it in the for loop itself, because this is the concerned with the internal operation, right? If it was to check for a single value, then I can write the sum for outside, right? Because for every number that I need to check, I need to start my sum from 0, right? I will be first checking for 1, sum should be 0 initially, right? So that I can calculate the like cubic sum of 1, right? If I'm checking for 123, I need the sum initially to be 0, so that I can check for the summation of individual cubes of the element, that is 1, 2, and 3, right? So that's why sum is initialized inside. Whatever is done initialized inside in a for loop, it basically it gets reinitialized at every iteration. Okay, right? So what were we doing in the for loop? We were like extracting out the value. Let's extract out the value. What was the variable we used? We used the x. So int x is equals to, I can say t, right? I can say is t divide by 10 mod by 10. What do you guys think?
Modulus.
Yes, modulo 10. Right, now I need to add this to the sum, right? I can write sum plus is equals to x star x, oh, sorry, x star x, right? Is this correct, or do I need to make any change? This statement correct? Yes. So this statement is equivalent to writing sum plus, oh sorry, sum is equals to sum plus, right, x star, cool. This is actually okay. So after this I need to check if, let's say, if sum is equals to I, right? Do a system dot out dot print ln, right? Okay, so we need to print the number, so let's print the I because it's the number, right? Is this clear? No need to take any sort of input because we are using this to check for number. So check check for 0 say 5, 0 say 5 or 0 to 5, right? Stay clear. 0 to 5, right? Now this is basically checking or adding the cubes, adding the cubes of the numbers, right? Okay, is this correct printing in this in the same line? If right, there is no sort of output, I guess, given, so let's we might have to figure it out, right? Any doubt in this code? Let's try and run it. Don't need any sort of input. Okay, so let's try and run it. Let's like give some Okay, guys, you can see we got 123, 153, 370, 371, and 407, right? So we are getting these values, right? I believe this is correct, right? Okay, so this was the main approach that you guys should know. But you guys can see in this, we are having a nested kind of for loop condition, right? Are you guys comfortable with this? Is this point clear? Any doubt in this code? Yeah. All right, cool. Now, like quickly let me know, are you guys interested in seeing the modular code for the same problem or not? Yes. Okay, so several participants are interested. So let's do. Okay, so in writing a function, you guys, okay, so do you guys know how to write a function? Oh, no, 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 no. Sanjeev, why curly braces are not used in if condition? Yeah, I have explained it in the earlier class, right? Because a single statement is a valid, like, is a continuous execution. So I can write a single statement without curly braces also. If there are more statements, I need curly braces. Little, okay. So yeah, guys, in that case, it's like better to wait for you guys to learn about functions, right? Because that will like sir के ऊपर से जाएगा यार, तो confuse हो जाओगे, कोई बात नहीं, right? So कोई बात नहीं. So let's quickly have a look at one last problem, right? Because I need to like make up for the time that I submit. Yeah, cool, submit. Is there any doubt like in this code? Just let me know in this code any doubt. Like we will be discussing the modular approach in the future, right? No worries about that. No. All right, cool. So reverse problem. All right, cool. Let's do the reverse problem. Peak element. यार peak element कर लेते हैं, उसमें ना time लगेगा. Reverse digits of a number. Cool. Okay. Guys, in this problem, we will be using the same concept that we learned in the previous one, right? We basically need to extract out each element and create a new number from it, right? Because one statement will be just added in it. So we can write for int. Okay, so in this case, do we need a scanner?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so cnner scanner sc is equals to new cnner scanner with system. Cool. Right, now I need an integer number, right? N is equals to sc dot next int, right? Sc dot next int, right? For int, let's say, okay, so we don't need a for int, right? Because this time I can perform directly on the n, because I don't need to check anything. I just need to print, right? Okay, it is showing failed. Yes. All right, just give me a second. I will be doing it also. So for n is greater than 0, right? So I need to just n is equals to n by 10, right? This basically reduce the last number. Okay, so I also need to like somehow create the number, right? So for that, let's call it an int new number. New number is initially 0, right? So how do we create a reverse number? We follow this algorithm where we first extract out the number, right? Let's say x is equals to n modulo 10, right? So now I have the 1th digit position, right, number. Now I need to basically shift this value once, like basically multiply new number by 10, right? So that I create a valid space for the new number, right? New number star is equals to 10. Okay, star is equals to 10 is equal into like new number is equals to new number into 10, right? This is shorthand for the same, like how I showed you for the summation. This is shorthand for multiplication, right? Now we shifted the value once. Now what does the shift mean? I will be like explaining this first. You see, the number is 1, 2, 3. Let's keep this on, right? And the new number is initially 0, right? Okay, so now what is the x that I extract? Can you guys let me know what will be the value of x for the first iteration? Anybody? Okay, so it will be 3, yes. नहीं 2 नहीं रहेगी, ये तो 3 रहेगी. क्यों? क्योंकि हम we will be extracting the 1th place variable, right? It won't be 2, it will be 3, right? So at 1th place we have 3. So basically we are extracting out x by 3, right? So now I need to add it to the 3, right? Right. So first, let's say whatever the number is, if I multiply it by 10, so 0 multiplied by 10 stays 0. Now I need to just add it to the new number, right? So new num plus equals to x. What did I do in this line? I basically multiplied it by 10, right? 0 multiplied by 10 still stays 0, right? So adding 3 to it basically makes it 3, right? Now after this, the number will be removed, so you can see it became 2. This time x value will be, quickly, second iteration, what will be the value of x? 2, correct. It will be 2. So see, this is the point where you will be learning how why multiply by 10. See, the number is 3. I need to add a number at 1th place, right? So if I need to add 1th place, I need to create a space for 1th place. How can I do that? I can, if I multiply the current number by 10, that means 3 into 10, that gives me 30, right? Now if I add 2 to it, it basically means 30 plus 2, that gives me 32, right? Is this part clear? Why shifting? Because see, 3 के पीछे 2 ऐड करना है, तो 3 को 10 से मल्टीप्लाई करेंगे, 3 एक पोजीशन आगे चला जाएगा, राइट? उसके बाद 0 उसको 2 को ऐड करेंगे तो 30 प्लस 2 हो जाएगा, राइट? राइट. इन इंग्लिश व्हाट आई सेड इज कि I need to add 2 to the new add behind 3, right? So for that I need to basically shift 3 one place to the left. How can I do that? If I multiply it by 10, it becomes 30 instead. So I get a 0 at the end, right? I get a 0 at the end. If I add a 2 to it, now it is 3 shifted once plus 2. That gives me 32, right? Cool. Any doubts? I guess there shouldn't be. If there is, please let me know that. Okay, so let's perform this operation once again, right? So we added the number was shifted again, right? In this case, what should be the 10 x value? Quickly in the chart. It should be 1. Yeah, correct, guys. So if it is 1, what do I need to do in this case? Please let me know. Now I'm executing line number 14. What is happening to my new number? What will my new number become at line number 14? What will my new number become? Guys, at line number 14, what will be the value of new number at line number 14 after the execution? 320. Yes, it will be 320. So you can see I basically shifted 32 once, creating a space for the new number that I need to add. Okay, so line number 15, what do we do now? We add 1 to it, x. So it becomes 3 to 1. So you can see I basically reversed 1 to 3 to 3 to 1. Got it? Now, okay, so all the lines are executed. Please remove the last character from 1. So 1 by 10 gives me a 0, right? Will the loop execute this time? Will the loop execute this time? Will the loop execute this time? Yes or no? No, because n is 0, so it won't execute this time, right? It won't execute this time. Okay, so let's do a one small dry run because many of you guys had this query. Keep 1 0 0, right? I say my initially num is 0, right? Let's do a dry run first. Okay, so I will be basically explaining this dry run quickly. Okay, let's try for 100 because you guys are like feeling discomfort in zeros, right? So this is also like algorithms handles the 0 case, because see, if I reverse this number 0, right? Okay, so please let me know if the number itself is to be added or not. 0 0 1 लिखना है कि 1 ही लिखना है 100 को? Guys, okay, so I will be figuring it out, no worries. See, the number is n is new number is, all right, no worries. Meran, I will be like figuring it out. New number is 0 at the moment. The x I will be getting is 0. Agreed? Hundreds or the ones position is 0. So 0 multiplied by 0 stays 0, plus 10 plus 0 gives still stays, makes it 0, right? So 0 0 still. So you can see for 0 I didn't actually did any sort of a change. Number is still 0, right? So I didn't did 0 plus 0, right? No, this is not happening because I'm using maths to do this. I'm handling the case and 0 still stays 0 if I'm adding 0, because the number is not being created, right? Now after that, this time again x becomes 0, right? New number into 0 is into 10 gives me a 0 itself, right? Plus 0 still makes it a 0, right? So at the last also I'm getting a 0 itself, right? Now after this, I can say key what is the value of x this time? It is 1. So 0 into 10, what does it gives me? It gives me a 0, plus 1 gives me a 1, right? So I can say the new number is now 1. Agreed? Any doubt in this statement? Agreed? Okay, so clear. No. Cool. So number is again 0. Will this loop run further? No, this loop won't run further, right? So we can like do this. Like, I guess I cleared the doubt using the dry run part. Now, okay, so what do we need to do is we need to just print out. How do we do print? System dot out dot print ln the new number. So we do modular to take remainder and print directly by digit. Is this correct? Yes, it is correct, right? It is correct. I'm like creating the actual reverse number. You guys can do like several steps. Basically, you can print it like character by character or digit by digit. If the output, let's say, if the output of 0 0 1 0 0 is supposed to be key 0 0 1, right? In that case, you can like do a character by character print, right? No issues in that. If the like the number is supposed to be for 100, if it is supposed to be, let's say, only 1, in that case the above algorithm is much more suitable, right? Because from the character by character print you won't be able to figure out okay, so should I print the 0 or not? Do I have I printed anything before it or not? So that will be requiring like, let's say, several check cases. So instead of that, I'm basically saving lines of code and saving like that complex logic as of now. So I'm like doing it, right? I hope you understood. Line 22 is correct or not? Yeah, it is correct, right? It is correct. Yeah, it is correct. So let's try and run it. Let's try the number given 1 2 3 4 5. I believe it should run in down. Yeah, 5 4 3 2 1, right? Let's try and submit it. All test cases passed. Okay, so let's try for the 100. I got a 1, right? I showed you the dry run why this logic is working. So yeah, guys, we covered 3 questions for the day. I tried my best to like make you understand. I hope you got to learn something new, right? How to use modulus and remainder operation like together, right? Did you guys learn something new?
हेलो
Yeah.
सर, वो तुम 1000 इनपुट दिए थे ना, जब आउटपुट 1 आया था, वो कंपाइलर एक्सेप्ट करेगा क्या?
2000 इनपुट दिया तो 1 आया था.
हाँ
2000 इनपुट दिया तो 1 आएगा. नहीं आएगा यार, 2 आएगा.
वो सर 2 आएगा, वो ये कंपाइलर एक्सेप्ट करेगा क्या?
नहीं करेगा।
हाँ, तब इसका लॉजिक कैसा है?
लॉजिक उसका
इनपुट
ऐसे ही है, जैसे हमने कोड करा ना, इसका लॉजिक ऐसे ही है। आप अगर उसको 00002 करोगे तो वो आप मतलब कैरेक्टर बाय कैरेक्टर प्रिंट कर रहे हो, राइट? तो उसने क्या करा है, रिवर्स नंबर मांगा है। उसने आपको ये नहीं बोला कि रिवर्स नंबर प्रिंट करो, नहीं, उसने ये बोला है कि जनरेट करो वो नंबर, और नंबर जनरेट करके प्रिंट करो। आप खुद बताओ, 002 को हम 2 नहीं बोलते, राइट? तो
हाँ
उसका कोई 00 का कोई सिग्निफिकेंस नहीं है, राइट? वो तो आप कंपाइलर को पास करने के लिए वैसे कर रहे हो, राइट? बट जो एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन कह रहा है, एक्चुअल क्वेश्चन तो ये कह रहा है ना कि वो नंबर बना के प्रिंट करो। हम नंबर बना रहे हैं इस एल्गोरिथम में, राइट? गॉट इट?
हाँ, ओके सर, ओके सर।
Right. So yeah, guys, I guess that sums up for the day, right? We will be catching. Okay, so today's Friday, so I guess we have 2 days of break, right? In those 2 days, please try to solve this assignment as much as you can, right? Go through the concepts. Please go through the recordings once again if you have any doubts, right? Next week we will be like completing this assignment, and we will be like learning some new concepts such as functions, right? Okay, guys, have a good weekend then, right? Okay, all right. Okay, see you guys on Monday. No, we won't be having any class tomorrow, right? We will be having the next class on Monday, right? I guess we don't need any sort of like extra class as of now, right? We're at a good pace. Yeah, all right. Yeah, guys, I'm like ending the